I think you can hear me. And I probably realize I've been toying with you all night. Yesterday was not my day, and I wanted to go live so badly, and I was so nervous about it because I haven't gone live for an extended amount of time yet. Um, so I'm still trying to learn this technology, and my husband was helping me, and it just wasn't working out, and I was so confused. So then today, as you saw, I posted for 6:30, and then it was for a reason. My husband and daughter were going out, uh, which I thought they'd be gone by 6:30, so I planned it around that. But then they left at 6, or they left a little before 6, so I um, changed the time on you for today for 6 o'clock. But I just feel like, I've felt spiritually attacked for a little while now, ups and downs, but this is just like, this technology stuff takes the cake. So I'm sorry, I have no graphics, no visual, no camera on me. I just wanted to go live and look at the chat, and I'm sorry you have a blank screen to look at. If, as the old preachers, I grew up in every denomination: Pentecostal, Baptist, Assemblies of God, not in that order. But my parents were Catholic when I was a baby. So, as they used to say in those old preachy times, if you have your Bible, turn to. So you'll just have to do that, like old timey times. No graphics. I have a lot to share. You should see. Let me see how many tabs I have. One, including the tab just for Isaiah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tabs open. And if I was smart enough with all this technology, I would be able to show it to you. So I see nobody's on the chat yet. Maybe people will just come on, and I'm just going to start because I don't want this to be too long. But at least you can hear me and say hey. And if some of you could answer questions for me, I have a couple questions. So we will just start and go with it. And I'm sorry that Ukraine flag is in the background. I wonder how I can change that. I know I can. I did it before, but I don't know how to change it again. If you guys see that in the background, that's kind of dumb. And I think with live, I feel like I can be more of myself. So sorry, I better watch my words. Graphics. Let's try to find something more suitable for our intellect level, shall we? I don't know what I picked. I don't know. There, that one's ambiguous. Okay. Let's get started reading. We're going to read the passages that are well known, and then I have some fun side facts and some extra little things to share with you. So I think we'll just get started. I know somebody will hop on, and if they don't, they don't. But thanks for watching later on. Okay. So let me put my name on here. I saw Pepper Mandy joined my test stream, and she said Shabbat Shalom. Now I'm saying it. Okay, there we go. I think that'll work. I have two computer screens in front of me, but yet I'm only using one. So I decided, since I am such a silly person, we would do an extra chapter also, and chapter 12 is super short. So let's get to it, and I will stop along the way to talk. All right. It says, Isaiah 11, righteous reign of the branch, which is Messiah. Then a shoot will spring from the stem of Jesse, and a branch from his roots will bear fruit. The spirit of Yahuwah will rest on him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and strength, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah, and he will delight in the fear of Yahuwah. He will not judge by what his eyes see, nor make a decision by what he hears, his ears hear, but with righteousness he will judge the poor and decide with fairness for the afflicted of the earth. And he will strike the earth with a rod of his mouth. So verbal judgment, I'm presuming. And with the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Also righteousness will be the belt about his loins, and faithfulness the belt about his waist. Okay, I'm going to go to Revelation 4. And again, I'm sorry I can't share my screen. I will get it one day, not willing. Bad on me. I did not pray before I did this, and maybe things would have gone a little better. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let's go to Revelation 4, because the spirit that is mentioned in Isaiah 11 is, and if you count them, Spirit of Yahweh is 1, Wisdom 2, Understanding 3, Counsel 4, Strength 5, Knowledge 6, Fear of Yahweh 7. That is referring to Revelation 4, where it says that the 7 spirits of Yah. It's Revelation 4, 5. So it's the throne and the worship of the Creator. Verse 5, out from the throne come flashes of lightning and sounds of peals of thunder. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of Yah. And before the throne there was something like a sea of glass, like crystal. And in the center and around the throne 4 living creatures full of eyes in front and behind. The first creature was like a lion, the second creature like a calf. The third creature had a face like of a man, and the fourth creature was a flying eagle. 4 living creatures, each one of them having 6 wings, full of eyes around and within, and day and night they do not cease to say, Holy, holy, holy is Yahuwah, the Almighty, who was and who is to come. So I just wanted to read that. There's always those comparisons you can put into Scripture, and everything is always consistent with those kinds of things. What I'm saying is consistency with speaking of the Most High himself. Come on in, guys. Where are you? Oh, I messed it up. People were so ready, and then I botched it up. Oh, well, I'm just going to keep going. All right. So those are the 7 spirits, and the Messiah has that to judge the earth at this point in Isaiah. So here is the ever-present Mandela effect subject for Christians or believers. Verse 6, and the wolf will dwell with the lamb, and the leopard will lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the young lion, and the fatling together. And a little boy will lead them. Also the cow and the bear will graze. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The nursing child will play by the hole of the cobra, and the weaned child will put his hand on the viper's den. They will not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of knowledge of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. Now, this is a little side thing I just realized, and it might be something or it might not be. So we know in the book of Daniel that there's many creatures mentioned for different nations. And then we see just in Revelation 4, which I didn't plan, but it ties into it, these creatures at Yah's throne worshiping and gathering to worship are some of the same mentioned in Isaiah and Daniel. So the calf, the lion, I don't think the eagle was mentioned, but plenty of times the vipers have been mentioned in the Bible, and we know where that leads. The wolf, let me look. I think that's one of the things I wanted to look at was animals in the Bible. Let's just look that up. One moment, please. I'm just gonna quick look like on Google. Sorry if you can hear my typing. I'm going to look on Google, and I do have a book of zoology written by a pastor whose church I used to go to, but I don't have my books out. Because we moved and I didn't get my books out. So I'm just going to type in animals in the Bible and their meaning. Because I think it is significant now that I think about it. That Isaiah mentions these animals lying down with each other. So now it makes me wonder if these animals are somehow with nations. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. What do you think? Tell me. So let's look. Maybe just the main one. Sorry, I'm skipping through this website. I really wish I had my book in front of me. It's way easier to thumb through. And of course, the internet's slow now. Of course, she has Balaam and the donkey. That we're going to skip through that. I want you to put in either in the comments or the chat, if anybody shows up, that you remember as a child, and I remember as a child. Maybe some of you remember as adults because some of you are old enough, sorry, to be my parents. So maybe when you were a young person or whenever, that you knew it said lion down with the lamb. That's what I remember learning as a child. So put down in the comments or chat if you remember lion or if you remember dog or something. This isn't going to work for me, I bet. This is a huge website. So, okay, she talks about the vipers. Obviously, vipers, snakes. We want to stay away from those. That's always negative. The wolf is always negative. This isn't going to work. I'm sorry. That's going to be another day. Let's just keep going. That would be a whole study in and of itself, really, to study out those animals. And I haven't even touched Daniel yet, so I haven't touched it in a while. Let me see if the chat is on YouTube too while I'm at it. Okay. Sorry about the pause. This might be a long video just because I'm having a lot of... My mind is like everywhere lately. Friday, I didn't even know what day it was. And I totally got stuff mixed up. Oh, by the way, since we're pausing, I'm going to put down my friend Skull Asylum's little tribute to Isaiah in the comments. Go check out. Like, he's so good at putting music together with art and just shows different types of art, I should say. So anyways, okay, let's go back to the Isaiah reading. So what I'm saying is, obviously the wolf and the lamb. A wolf is a connotation of a predator, and we can see obviously the lamb is often referred to with Yeshua. The leopard, I believe, is in Daniel, and the goat is referred to by Yeshua himself about the sheep and the goats being separated. I'm just going through this just because I wonder if there's significance. So the cow, I think of the golden calf in Exodus. The bear, what came to mind was when Elisha called the mother bear to attack the boys who were mocking him. And then the lion, obviously, we know Satan is as a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. But also, Yeshua is the Lion of Judah. And then the ox also is in Daniel, I believe. I did read Daniel last year or something, so I do remember that. So we have the cobra and the viper, that's obvious. But it's just interesting. So, verse 10, then in that day, the nations will resort to the root of Jesse, who will stand as a signal for the peoples, and his resting place will be glorious. Okay, that kind of makes me think. If it says the nations here, so I'm pointing to it like you can see it, you can't see it. The nations is referred to in verse 10. And then all of those animals that had significance other places in the Bible were talked about before. Now, I don't know if some of you saw that picture. I'll put it on the front image for this video. That weird picture of, it was supposed to be like the Millennial Kingdom where the babies are playing with the lions and things like that. But in the background, it was Native Americans with the Europeans or whoever they were, Spanish, I'm not sure. It's kind of blurry, but it's really weird. And that's why I put that as a picture depicting that. It just seemed strange to me. And as you maybe have heard me say before, I do think the true Hebrews are indigenous people, Native Americans, blacks. And then we of other nations are grafted in. We're like the foreigners, which we'll get to in Isaiah later tonight. Okay. Oh, enough about that. We're only through verse 10. Okay, the restored remnant. And again, let me remind you, I'm always thinking about where these places are truly versus where we are told they are. So places named in verse 11, then it will happen on that day of Yahuwah will again recover the second time with his hand the remnant of his people who will remain from Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So we have to be aware of two things. Like I said, the places they tell us are around now, such as Egypt, because that's such a well-known one, are not probably where they truly are. And then the second thing to keep in mind is that geographically our realm does not look as it did in the past, however long ago that was, right? So I'm trying to, the reason I wanted to do Isaiah was I wanted to try to bring all of the information I know of in the background and put it in my mind and picture it in my mind as it truly was, not from what I've learned in church or whatever. And that's very hard to do. It's very much getting out of that box of cognitive dissonance is what I call it. So it's very hard. Okay. All right, verse 12. And he will lift up a standard for the nations and assemble the banished ones of Israel, and will gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Then the jealousy of Ephraim will depart, and those who harass Judah will be cut off. Ephraim will not be jealous of Judah. So in my last video, for the last Isaiah video, I talked a little bit about Ephraim. Judah will not harass Ephraim. They will swoop down on the slopes of the Philistines on the west. Together they will plunder the sons of the east. They will possess Edom and Moab, and the sons of Ammon will be subject to them. So it's subject to their obedience. And Yahuwah will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt. And the footnote says perhaps the Red Sea. So where I'm coming from, if the biblical lands are in the Americas, there's two different schools of thought. The Americas or Europe are the biblical lands. So the Red Sea would be where the Baja California is. That's what I've heard, but don't quote me on that. But that's where I'm coming from. In Europe, I can't quite remember. I know they have a place pinpointed also for the Red Sea, possibly being the true Red Sea, not in Egypt, in the Middle East, Israel, like they tell us. Okay, He will wave his hand over the river, which is the Euphrates River, with his scorching wind, and he will strike it into 7 streams and make men walk over dry shod. And there will be a highway from Assyria for the remnant of his people who will be left, just as there was for Israel in the day they came up out of the land of Egypt. So the same thing, the parting of the river into 7 streams. And remember, 7 is Yah's number of completion. So he's completing this part of his returning of the remnant. And Assyria, I don't know, the thought just came to me. I don't know if I should share it. I'll save it. I'll save it. Just interesting. All right, that's chapter 11. I had all these great pictures and all these interesting things to share, but I can't share them with you, so I will just keep reading. Let's go to chapter 12. It's a short one. All right. Thanksgiving expressed. So this is just something that someone will say or did say, thanking Yah. Chapter 12. Then he will say, on that day I will give thanks to you, Yahuwah, for although you were angry with me, your anger is turned away. So this is the remnant talking to the Most High. You comfort me. Behold, Yah is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For Yahuwah El is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. Therefore, you will joyously draw water from the springs of salvation. And in that day you will say, give thanks to Yahuwah, call on his name, make known his deeds from among the peoples. Make them remember that his name is exalted. Praise Yahuwah in song, for he has done excellent things. Let this be known throughout the earth. Cry aloud and shout for joy, O inhabitants of Zion, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. So we're not just talking about the earth, meaning the biblical Middle Eastern lands. We're talking about everywhere, which makes me think of if something is more central. The Middle East is not central to Earth itself, our realm. So that's just interesting to point out. Let's go to chapter 13. All right, this is prophecies about Babylon. Now this starts off the oracle concerning Babylon, and the footnote for oracle is the burden of. So this is the judgment against Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz saw. Lift up a standard on the bare hill, the bare hill. I don't know where that is. It says the windswept mountain. So somewhere where Yah judged. Raise your voice to them. Wave the hand that they may enter the doors of nobles. I have commanded my consecrated ones. I have even called my mighty warriors, my proudly exalted ones, to execute my anger. So Yahuwah is speaking. A sound of tumult on the mountains, like that of many people. A sound of uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathered together. Yahuwah Sabaoth is mustering the armies for the battle. They are coming from a far country, from the farthest horizons. Yahuwah and his instruments of indignation to destroy the whole land. And I'm not going to comment right now of where Babylon may be, but I think you can catch my drift. And you can probably figure it out too. Maybe I'm not live. No. Oh, hey, Melissa. I see you. I'm so sorry. I started early, and so now people are going to come on at 6:30. I should have just kept my original time. Anyways, I'm in chapter 13, so I just started. Whew, I'm glad thanks, Melissa. You were my confirmation for going live. All right. So sorry for no visuals. I explained that earlier in the video. Ugh, technology. It really is evil sometimes. Anyways, all right. So I'm in verse 6 of chapter 13. Wail, for the day of Yahuwah is near. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore, all hands will fall limp, and every man's heart will melt. They will be terrified. Pains and anguish will take hold of them. They will writhe like a woman in labor. They will look at one another in astonishment, their faces aflame. Behold, the day of Yahweh is coming, cruel with fury and burning anger, to make the land of desolation. And there's that word desolation again. How many times do we see desolate places? And I'm not just talking about like the Middle East. There's so many desolate places in the Americas, so much underground we don't know about, and we're just not sure what happened. He will exterminate its sinners from it. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not flash forth their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shed its light. Thus I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their iniquity. I will also put an end to the arrogance of the proud and abase the haughtiness of the ruthless. I will make mortal man scarcer than pure gold, and mankind than the gold of Ophir. That was a really interesting verse to me. He will make mortal man scarcer than pure gold. So it's a point in time, whatever time it is, past or future, that no one is left besides that remnant which he will gather and keep safe. But Babylon will be no more. I could just sit and ponder that, but I don't know if I'd get anywhere. My wheels keep turning, and I keep trying to think in terms of timelines and what history we can find. And it's like I always say, it's like a puzzle. So, some things that they tell us fit in with the mystery history part, but some doesn't. So you got to go back and like rework the pieces. And I hate puzzles. So anyway, so yeah, it's a time where every person in Babylon is gone, judged. Okay, verse 13. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken from its place at the fury of Yahuwah Sabaoth in the day of his burning anger, and it will be hunted like a gazelle, or like sheep with none to gather them. They will each turn to his own people, and each flee to his own land. Anyone who is found will be thrust through, and anyone who is captured will fall by the sword. Their little ones will be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered, and their wives ravished. I wanted to skip over that part because that just I don't want to picture that at all. Okay, Babylon will fall to the Medes. And again, I'm asking the question, who really were the Medes? Or who are the Medes? They could all tell us, and biblical scholars and things, they have their answers, but I don't think it's quite that simple. All right, verse 17. Behold, I am going to stir up the Medes against them, who will not value silver or take pleasure in gold, and their bows will mow down the young men. They will not even have compassion on the fruit of the womb, nor will they pity children. In Babylon, the beauty of kingdoms, the glory of the Chaldeans' pride, will be as when Yah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It will never be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation. That's another interesting point. No one will ever live there again. And I always think, where truly is that? It could be a number of places. Nor will the Arab pitch his tent there, nor will shepherds make their flocks lie down there. But desert creatures will lie down there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches will also live there, and shaggy goats will frolic there. Hyenas will howl in their fortified towers, and jackals in their luxurious palaces. Her fateful time also will soon come, and her days will not be prolonged. That description in verse 22, jackals in their luxurious places, and hyenas will howl in their fortified towers. I've seen old maps of Africa that have the towers and luxurious palaces and castles, but they're not there now. Some things are there, but not what the old maps depict. Oh, you're cleaning your kitchen. That's good. So I bet you're cooking a lot, Melissa, with all your stuff. You're gifted at all that stuff, cooking and soaps and everything. Wish we lived closer, you could teach me. So anyways, yeah, I just wonder, maybe that is somewhere like Africa. Here's something I'll just throw out there. I often think, and especially because there's a Zion, Utah, that Utah is a desolate place and desert. And I've seen pictures. My family, all my family actually went there except me because I couldn't do it. But the pictures they sent me is just amazing, of those towers and those fortress-like looking rocks. Really strange. It's really eerie and really beautiful at the same time. So anyways, I'm gonna go to the next chapter. Are we in the last chapter already? I can't believe it. I was going to share, I'll stop here for a second, and I'm gonna go to a reading. Let me see, can I find it? There were a couple things that I found out. So I know many people are talking about nowadays 73 AD, and we all know that Josephus had written about the Jewish-Roman War at that time. Preterism believes that Jesus, Yeshua, Yahusha, whatever you want to say, you let Yah lead you in that, that Yeshua came back at that time. After that, but because there was a lot of wars and famines and disasters at that time, unlike anything else. And so it was just interesting to read that had happened. I'm not going to go too much into that, or we could be here all night. I mean, you can go deep into the rabbit hole with anything, and sometimes it gets to be too much. But I did want to read something that happened in 1859. Someone just posted it on Facebook, I saw, and it was called the Carrington Event. And if any of you have heard of that, add more of what you know. But it was an intense, this is how they describe it, Wikipedia, that is, LOL, an intense geomagnetic storm, the most intense geomagnetic storm in recorded history, peaking from the 1st to the 2nd of September in 1859, blah, blah, blah. It was some auroral displays, telegraph stations caught on fire. They talk about, the sun stuff or whatever. That doesn't make sense. But they just talk about that, just going off the charts. And if everyone saw an aurora borealis type flashing and colors in the sky, and of course they poo-poo it away with just like typical science stuff, solar wind plasma and all this stuff. But I would think something significant happened in 1859 in the heavenlies, because we know what our realm really is, and that had to do something with some kind of spiritual warfare. Oh, you know a lot about it, Melissa? Like mainstream stuff? I don't know. I just heard about it today, but it's really interesting. And it kind of, I only mention it because that kind of event is talked about in Isaiah. And there's, like I said, there's all these puzzle pieces, and we're trying to just fit stuff together. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm also going to share a really weird picture I found down in the description. It's just this man looking up from his, it looks like some ruin, but of course they always drape those draperies in the ruins, but it's like this open roof, and he has all these crowns at his feet and these scepters, and he's looking up in heaven, and there's something going on in heaven, but it's kind of blurry. It's really strange. So I just can't get over it. Like, what happened from the 1400s to the 1700s, and then 1700s to the 1800s. Just a lot of weird art. I think art really tells us a lot more than we understand. We have to really understand other things before we know what really is depicting, what are depictions in art, is what I'm saying. So anyways, okay, let's start this last chapter. And this, like I said, chapter 11 is very much a well-known chapter, and so is chapter 14, Israel's taunt. Oh, and Melissa, I was saying, if you remember, put a lion in the chat or the comments if you remember that Isaiah 11 used to say the lion lies down with the lamb, or if you were always taught that it was the wolf. I remember as a child that it was the lion. Okay, but I looked up different versions of the Bible, and they all say wolf now. So anyway, and I grew up with the KJV mostly, or the NIV, but they both say wolf now. Okay, chapter 14. When Yahuwah will have compassion on Jacob and again choose Israel and settle them in their own land, then strangers will join them and attach themselves to the house of Jacob. So that's where I would think we who are believers would be, that are not the original Hebrews, such as the indigenous tribes and blacks. We are the foreigners that have always been taken in by the Israelites because Yah had commanded it. Because he will, anyone who follows him can be a part of his kingdom and his heavenly spiritual family, spiritual renewal. Okay, verse 2. The peoples will take them along and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them as an inheritance in the land of Yahuwah, as male servants and female servants, and they will take their captors captive and will rule over their oppressors. And it will be in the day of Yahuwah that he gives you rest from your pain and turmoil and harsh service in which you have been enslaved, that you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon and say, now pause there. I did read that this king of Babylon could possibly be Titus. And I want to make sure I have this right. Maybe I don't. Man, oh man. See, this is what I get. I'm all prepared, and then for some reason it falls apart. So pray for me, because I don't get why this happens to me. It's really strange. I really try to get everything set, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out. I don't know. It's like a spiritual attack, I'm telling you. I'm not even sharing what I wanted to share. Okay, back to the king of Babylon. Two thoughts. I don't know, because of the context of the passage, if it's truly talking about Satan, but scholars, quote unquote, say it was Titus. And I believe Titus was reigning actually during AD 70 to 73, something like that. I'll have to double check now, because of course I can't find it. That's what happens when I go live, I guess. But it's interesting that Titus was connected to this king of Babylon, and he's also connected to the time of AD 70 to 73. I'm just giving that broad range because I'm not sure which specific date it was, but I'll have to go back. There's so much I'll have to go back on now. Oh, hey, Jess. Oh, thanks, Mel. Oh, I just feel like my thoughts are just like spewing out. I don't even know what I'm saying really, but I'm glad you like it. No, I know what I'm saying. I'm just kidding. A lot of times I just feel so discombobulated in my mind. So thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. These are literally just how my mind is whirling with thoughts. Okay. So let's keep going. I'm in verse 4 at the end. How the oppressor, this is what the taunt is saying, how the oppressor has ceased and how fury has ceased. Yahuwah has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers. And that's where that weird picture came in. That man had all the crowns and the scepters at his feet. I was trying to find a picture of a scepter, but of course, the internet does not give you anything valid to show. But I do think scepters had some kind of wacko weird power. They weren't just pretty sticks that the king held. Okay, verse 6. I digress. Okay, the scepters of rulers which used to strike the peoples in fury with unceasing strokes. That's why I think there were more than that. I really think they did strike the people with electricity or something. Okay, which subdued the nations in anger with unrestrained persecution. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into shouts of joy. Even the cypress trees rejoice over you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were laid low, no tree cutter comes up against us. Trees do talk in a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff and C.S. Lewis, right? The Chronicles of Narnia? I think so. Okay, since you were laid low, no tree cutter comes up against us. Sheol from beneath is excited over you to meet you when you come. It arouses for you the spirits of the dead and the leaders of the earth. So we all know that, and this is a footnote that says male goats, which also goes back to our reference of Isaiah 11, talking about how the young boy will sit down with the goat. I'm just trying to make connections. So yeah, we all know what I was saying is the leaders, the evil of this world come from below, and they are, what I believe, what I've heard so far is they are not released yet, but they're under the earth. That's what that's referring to. Sheol, those leaders of the earth are going to come up. It raises all the kings of the nations from their thrones. They will all respond and say to you, even you have been made weak as we, you have become like us. Your pomp and the music of your harps have been brought down to Sheol. Maggots are spread out as your bed beneath you, and worms are your covering. Okay, and here's the Lucifer passage. How you have fallen from heaven. And that's why I reiterated thinking the king of Babylon was Titus or Lucifer or both. I know that Lucifer is interwoven with different kings. I think it's the king of Tarsus. Either that's in Isaiah or a different prophet in a different book. Okay. How you have fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of dawn. And remember, and he's called the shining one. In Hebrew, it says here, it's called Hallel, H-E-L-E-L. Satan is beautiful. He doesn't look like a devil with the horns. And I actually can attest to this. Here's a side story and a side note. I have seen, oh, you've hugged trees. My daughter hugs trees, Melissa. She loves to touch trees, and she doesn't tell me why. But yeah, I think they're truly alive in ways we don't understand. Here's another side note. Have you seen, I've seen it on TikTok, but there's other places I'm sure on YouTube too. There's a man who can connect his little amps to plants and trees, and they make different vibration sounds and they make different musical sounds. The energy from the plants, the device he uses, it turns it into musical notes and things. So yeah, there's something there. I'm so focused. We gotta meet in real life, Melissa. You'll see I'm not so focused. But thank you again. So what was I saying? Okay. Oh, Satan is beautiful. So I was gonna attest to that because I've seen spirits, and my friend Wendy, if she comes on, she told me they were actually unclean spirits. And I wasn't afraid of them because they were beautiful. So how they appeared to me, which I've recently gotten rid of them, so hallelujah, because they were bothering me. But they weren't scary looking. They were jellyfish / like sea urchin looking. So they had like a sea urchin type top, but they would float, and they were different colors. I saw a blue one, a purplish one, and they kind of shimmered. So I can attest to the beauty of the spiritual realm isn't always what we're told. Really strange. But yeah, so I was just saying I can attest to that. The shining one, Lucifer, was the most beautiful of Yah's creation. Okay, but he said in his heart, I'm in verse 13, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of Yah, and I will sit on the mount of assembly in the recesses of the north. So I'm assuming, I'm going to stop again and say the recesses of the north are probably the North Pole, correct? From what we understand, what the North Pole really is. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will make myself like the Most High. Nevertheless, you will be thrust down to Sheol. So just so that you know, he said he wants to make himself like the Most High. It gets right back down to the judgment of Yahuwah saying, nevertheless, you will be thrust down to Sheol, to the recesses of the pit. Those who see you will gaze at you. They will ponder over you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world like a wilderness and overthrew its cities? So we have, let me make another comparison. The Most High makes places desolate, but so does evil. So does Satan. Who did not allow his prisoners to go home? All the kings of the nations lie in glory, each in his own tomb. But you have been cast out of your tomb like a rejected branch, clothed with the slain who are pierced with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit like a trampled corpse. Ooh. You will not be united with them in burial, because you have ruined your country. You have slain your people. I don't remember reading that. Lucifer has people. May the offspring of evildoers not be mentioned forever. Are those the fallen angels? If anyone wants to comment on that, I don't know. Hey, Tony. That's funny, Jess. I know. We're always trying to teach our children to unlearn things. Oh my goodness. I know. Yeah. My daughter does. I think my daughter even mentioned to one of her teachers at school last year that the earth was flat. No, I think it was during e-learning. She said, oh, the earth is flat. And they didn't know what to say. And my mom was there. And my mom does not think the earth is flat. She thinks we're being deceived by Satan by thinking that. But anyways, it was funny. Alessia, my daughter, totally took everyone off guard by saying, oh no, the earth is flat. It was just so funny. I think they just moved on. They didn't even know what to say. My mom knew where she got it. My mom wasn't really appreciative of that, but I was like, yeah, go you. Because she's 9 now, but we came to more truth in 2019. And so she's gotten to know that. Anyways, a lot of side notes. Oh, I like chats because I like talking about things like that. But yeah, keep teaching them, Jess, because they'll get it. Even if they don't get it now, they're going to remember it when it comes up again in different scenarios. Okay. Back to Lucifer. So he ruined, Yah's going to ruin his country. He has slain his people. So Lucifer has slain his people. I'm thinking that's the Nephilim. Not sure. Just putting it out there. Okay. May the offspring of evildoers not be mentioned forever. Prepare for his sons a place of slaughter because of the iniquity of their fathers. They must not arise and take possession of the earth and fill the face of the world with cities. Okay, let's read that again because no, I'm not focused, Melissa. Okay, verse 21. Prepare his sons a place of slaughter. So we're talking about Lucifer here, the king of Babylon, or some people think it's King Titus. Prepare for his sons a place of slaughter because of the iniquity of their fathers. They must not arise and take possession of the earth and fill the face of the world with cities. So it kind of brings me back to the Tower of Babel, what they wanted to do there. They wanted to raise up just like they wanted to raise up cities just like they did at the Tower of Babel. Okay, verse 22 in chapter 14. I will rise up against them, declares Yahuwah Sabaoth, and will cut off from Babylon name and survivors, offspring, and posterity, declares Yahuwah. I will also make it a possession for the hedgehog and swamps of water. I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, declares Yahuwah Sabaoth. So I wonder if all this stuff is underwater now, like Atlantis or something. Psst, psst. Okay, judgment on Assyria, verse 24. Yahuwah Sabaoth has sworn, saying, surely, just as I have intended it, so it has happened, and just as I have planned, so it will stand, to break Assyria in my land, and I will trample him on my mountains. Then his yoke will be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulder. This is the plan devised against the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out against all nations. For Yahuwah Sabaoth has planned, and who can frustrate it? And as for his stretched out hand, who can turn it back? In the year of King Ahaz, in the year that he died, this oracle came. Do not rejoice, O Philistia, all of you, because the rod that struck you is broken. For the serpent's root, a viper will come out. So just in chapter 11 was mentioning the viper, and the serpent is what the baby will play with or play near. Its fruit will be a flying serpent. Those who are most helpless will eat, and the needy will lie down in security. I will destroy your root with famine, and it will kill off your survivors. Survivors. It's always an interesting word in like the mud flood context. Wail, O gate, cry, O city, melt away, O Philistia, all of you. For smoke comes from the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. How then will one answer the messengers of the nation? That Yahuwah has founded Zion, and the afflicted of his people will seek refuge in it. So Zion is always a place of refuge. Just kind of to end it on a note, and my husband and daughter are going to be coming back soon, so that's a lot of background noise. The whole reason I wanted to do this was so when it's quiet. I either do this when she's at school or she's not at home, because as much as I love her, it's a big distraction. And I don't also, if it was the camera was on, I wouldn't want her to be seen really. Anyways, I wanted to read something that's written by a contemporary of Josephus. And it was just kind of interesting to note these different views of the earth back in those times. And I'm sorry, I don't have specific dates, but I think this man's name is, let me check. This is from the works of Philo. And it's talking about the eternity of the world. So this is I'll read his introduction, and then I'll read what some schools of thought back then were thinking. And I just wanted to mention this too. Oh, I completely forgot. This was my whole intro to Isaiah. So I tried to find, and I looked on Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is really only truly good for like lists of things. So if you want to look up lists of famines or lists of wars, so I looked up lists of theologians because I wanted to see where people were teaching about different things. And so I just typed in lists of theologians, and then I clicked on a few of them, like Francis of Assisi we know of. There was a saint from Sweden. It was a lady. And then there was another man, and then like Thomas Aquinas. And of course, Josephus was one of the earlier ones, but there was someone from Nineveh. And I was looking for specific teachings on the millennial kingdom. I was looking for what they thought about anything else. And two things struck me. All of them were either teaching about the proof of the Most High's existence, or they were part of the Catholic Church. So I don't know what you all think about the Catholic Church. Me personally, I know it's different for everyone. I think the Catholic Church is evil, but we're not going to go there. But my whole point is it was only the Catholic Church's teachings from early on. And I'm talking like, the year 1000, 1000, the Catholic Church really forcefully implemented itself into teaching about the Bible really early on. And so I couldn't find any teaching except until about the 1800s about the millennial kingdom or about Christ's return. And so it just got me thinking, how are we to know what these people in the past, recent or long ago, knew about what had gone on? Or let's just say it this way, what judgments had already happened. So I'm going to read, like I said, it's just kind of a side note, something to think about, and I probably won't touch on it ever again. I know some of you were in the chat. I think it was Tony's chat or something, or Skulls. This Works of Philo, it's long, but it was hard for me to read it because these people were just so much more intellectual than we are. But he was speaking about the eternity of the world. And so let me read a little bit of his intro. In every uncertain and important business, it is proper to invoke God because he is the good creator of the world and because nothing is uncertain with him who is possessed of the most accurate knowledge of all things. But of all times, it is most necessary to invoke him when one is preparing to discuss the incorruptibility of the world. For neither among the things which are visible to the outward senses is there anything more admirably complete than the world, nor among things appreciable by the intellect is there anything more perfect than God. But the mind is at all times the governor of the outward sense, and that which is appreciable by the intellect is at all times superior to that which is visible to the outward senses. But those persons in whom there is implemented a vigorous and earnest love of truth willingly undergo the trouble of making inquiries relative to the subordinate things from that which is superior to and ruler over them. Okay, I can't read all of that. That is very, well, I feel smarter just reading it, but I probably lost like all my viewers now because I'm reading this kind of stuff. So he goes on, I'll skip down a little bit. If then we who have been practiced and trained in all the doctrines of prudence and temperance and virtue, and those aren't the doctrines that are taught today, let me tell you, have discarded all the stains of the passions and diseases, perhaps God would not disdain to give to souls completely purified and cleansed, so as to appear in his image a knowledge of heavenly things either by means of dreams, oracles, signs, or wonders. But since we have on us the marks of folly and injustice, all other vices, strongly stamped upon us and difficult to be effaced, it's interesting he didn't call it sin. We must be content even if we are only able by them to discover some faint copy and imitation of the truth. So there was, I'm going to skip down. There was this thought, and he says it, there's three different opinions on the subject, which we are at present discussing. Some persons affirm that the world is eternal, uncreated, and not liable to any destruction. So that's kind of like evolution. Others, on the contrary, say that it has been created and is destructible. There are also others who take a portion of each of these two opinions, agreeing with the last mentioned sect that it has been created, but with the former class that it is indestructible, and thus they have left behind them a mixed opinion, thinking that it is at the same time created and imperishable. I'm not going to read all this. Let me go down a little bit. I just think it's fascinating they were talking about this because, and we've all been at that point. Hey, Yeti. Yeah, right, Tony. Yeah, like Horton Hears a Who. And what I understand of the realm, so I believe it's an infinite plane. And so this infinite plane probably has been around for eternity because before, when you were, now whether you're a flat earther or not, I'm just going to speak my opinion. Before I was a flat earther, space was always infinite space was always there. That's where the Most High resided. But then, when you know what the realm is truly, you know that the infinite plane is probably eternal, but our realm, Earth, is destructible, correct? And other realms in the plane are destructible. The only part that is indestructible is the whole, which we have no idea, and I don't think we ever will know what that vast place is that is indestructible. We know heaven is indestructible, and the Most High is on the top of the 7 heavenly layers. So, anyways, I digress. But they're having this discussion about that, and so he talks about, the decaying of the body, and that we, as animals and mortal man, are destructible. That we can be destroyed. I don't know. If you want to have this, let me know if you want this. But it's quite long. I didn't even read the whole thing because it's very, not that it's not understandable. It's attainable to understand what they're saying, but it's a lot to ingest. But I'll just leave it there. That's kind of like an intro if you're interested in looking at Philo's work. Like I said, he's a contemporary of Josephus, but yeah. So yeah, Tony, we are here. We are here. We are here. We are like grasshoppers. The Bible says that the Most High looks down upon the earth as us, as grasshoppers. If I'm not quoting that correctly, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. And yes, our realm is destructible. What has been destroyed or what will be destroyed, I don't know. But Isaiah is really intriguing. I always say I never have all the answers, but comment what you want, chat what you want. Help me out if you have more to say about anything. I think that's all I wanted to share. Again, I'm so sorry that my first live didn't work and I had to stop it, and then there's no visuals to show here, but I will get it someday. The Most High will it, and I will get the hang of this technology stuff. But anyways, let's do this again, and I'll go live again. Even if it has no visuals, we'll just chat and talk, and I'll read to you. So thanks for joining me. Blessings.